right now we have my one of two employees that actually works at my Despair escape room location at Hesperia, California. So Ian Haas is what? So your Detective Warshaw is your actual character's name, and is that correct, or are you Schaefer?
No, I'm definitely a Warshaw.
What's his story?
Warshaw's story. Right now we're working it out, but kind of have it as he's a rookie from outside of the state of or the city of Elaine, who got transferred in as Elaine started having more problems with supernatural and just kind of a lot of missing cases, things like that. But he's much more of a straight lace, try and do it by the book type of a character. Tends to be incredibly serious, but kind of what I've been doing with the whole inside the Despair escape room offices. That because I'm kind of developing a Despair is like a place where souls link. That it's also my soul is connected to Warshaw, so he gets a little bit kinder, a little bit more jovial when in the office because I have that influence.
Yeah, so like some escape rooms try to keep story within the room itself, like the actual like plot of the room that they're doing. But we thought it'd be really interesting and have a lot of potential in the future to include every bit of the customer experience to have story in it. So as soon as they walk into the actual location, there will be story elements and atmosphere that could be put together into a long-term story. So like we want to bring that as like farther and farther than just like in the location, like even stuff that you can like find online. So we want to create those online resources that you could delve into if you wanted to. That's the long-term goal. So far we've accomplished about as much as a normal escape room. So, you know, we have a room. It's a good experience. It's a good 60 minutes if you have a team to go run through it. We have a interesting lobby and office. We have costumed up hosts, and that's as far as we've gotten so far. So we have the bare bones of an escape room, but over the time, we want to start developing that way more flavorful story arc inside of the whole thing. Speaking of which, I was thinking what we could do, what we could start doing is start writing, planning, and then shooting 1 to 2 minute short films, like literally that quick. That would just like add up to an actual full story over a few month period. So I think we can do that like every 2 weeks or so. Like this.
Yeah, I was talking to Joey about it, and they doing since our two characters are supposed to interact relatively often, that working on him for like at least to start out with like a 10-part little mini series where we record most of it all in one day, but then release it over time to kind of give a little interview into how these characters react both to each other and to the world around them.
Yeah, so I mean, okay, so Joey's our other employee, so we have Ian and Joey. So Ian's Detective Warshaw, and then we have Joey's Detective Schaefer. And there are two in-universe characters that you'll run into inside of our actual Despair lobby, which the setting of the lobby is a rundown, abandoned police station that seems to have just been ripped out of the town of Elaine's existence and plopped right into, our real world. So when you enter there to do an escape room, you're actually entering this piece of another universe that for some reason doesn't belong here. So, and Detective Warshaw and Detective Schaefer seem to be trapped, like a part of it, like they're almost like haunting it, and that location haunts them. So they almost forget that they are out of existence. It's almost just like a regular day for them, which, gives us a lot of room to go, because we've reached those limits where like stuff can get ripped out of existence and put into existence. It gives us a lot of freedom to do kind of whatever crazy story arc for a room that we want to, or just like extra bit of content that won't even turn into a room, just a lot of extra flavor that we can put onto it that would give it value.
Something that I was thinking about with the Warshaw character, that he'd be like, every time that he's sucked out of the universe and into the room, when he becomes aware that he's there and he's in the room and he has a different type of job and personality. He actually tries to document things and take them back to Elaine to try and convince himself that stuff's going on there that's more than just meets the eye.
That'd be a cool short story. Is like the detective's like realization of what's going on, and then like his like fight against insanity, and then he just goes. It's almost like split personality. Like he just keeps jumping back and forth from understanding what's happening to believing that it's a normal everyday thing.
They have like, their memory is wiped by whatever entity or whatever's pulling them into the new, place between worlds area. It's wiped and regained every time they get pulled back and forth, depending on whatever the need is for the entity at that point.
Yeah, I think that'd be a cool story arc. So what I was thinking is, I started writing the beginning of short films for Dean, the father in Missy's murder, which is our first operational room inside of our escape room right now. So we were thinking about doing I was thinking about doing a short film about the father who's actually like, when you play the game, it terrorizes you as you try to escape.
So kind of get the how he's supposed to be sympathetic and stuff. And
yeah, so
maybe the time leading up to the Missy's room.
Yeah, we won't answer everything in the 2-minute short film. It almost just like give you a bunch of questions, and then the next one that comes out 2 weeks later will just give you more questions, and then maybe it starts to add up to something, and then by the time you play it, you see like the descent into madness. Like, this is where he's at now when you're inside the escape room, but here's what was happening before things got crazy, like super crazy.
Right.
So, we've been operational for about a month. What was the biggest challenges for you coming into, learning this new job and actually taking on the responsibilities of an escape room host for our guests?
Probably the actual hardest part was developing like the character inside the store, inside the game, and keeping to that character. Because the first 2 weeks was straight up mostly just development, trying out some things, see how I feel about them. If it actually, helps make it a more immersive experience. I think I finally got really into it this last week. One group I had actually was almost fleeing the actual place because I had them freaked out enough about it.
We're still having a good time though, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that came naturally to you too is your ability to fix technical issues as they came up, which is really good skill for people who run an escape room, because there's always going to be technical issues, props breaking, stuff like that. Whereas our other employee, he almost had the exact opposite instincts that you had. So when he came into it, he was very natural at being his character, talking to the public, very social. And then where he had trouble was being able to fix those technical issues, broken props, stuff like that. That was where he had trouble. So it's kind of interesting to see that the two of you almost have exact opposite skill sets.
It's a good thing, though. Because, if we actually end up, working together for various things, it allows us to both help each other grow in the various areas and make sure that everyone coming in has the best experience that they can.
Yeah. I think it's very, very growth potential. Like, there's a lot of growth potentially in the two of you working together. I think one of the next steps I see us doing is we finally got past the beginner stages of operating an escape room. We fixed for all the major problems, so stuff where we had one version of a prop, and if it went down, then we're completely screwed, and we have to somehow scramble up another one of those. So we have backups of stuff now. Both you and Joey are starting to pick up what your job on the day-to-day would be like, fixing those technical issues without anybody's help. I think where we can go now is adding on to your daily tasks instead of just operational on the escape room, and be turning into more of the creative. So becoming more of a part on the growth part. So instead of just operating, making sure the ship's still moving, actually improving and like more than just improving the rooms themselves, but
improving the universe around the room.
The universe around it, and then another stage of it is our storytelling to the public. So this, for example, right here, this little audio video log is kind of like our way of documenting and storytelling how we're operating. And I want to get to the point where we have a system in place where each of us has something that comes naturally to us, and it's almost scheduled to create that piece of content weekly, to the point where it's a system in place to where us as a team just produce so much information for the public, produce so much story for the universe, and then it's almost natural. So like I only have to do stuff that I'm comfortable with doing and that I find fun, and then you only have to do stuff that you find fun. Like you said you wanted to do a Despair Escape Room Dungeons and Dragons game series.
That is something that I felt that would be a fun thing to do.
I think that would be awesome. One, it would team building, we'd be together and we'd be having fun together. But another thing is like if we showed people how we are as people and how we naturally are, we'll get that people get to know us as people, and it would be I think it'd be very cool for them to see us in public or see us at the escape room, and they saw us as, you know, having fun, and they you know, the inside jokes that you get if you watch somebody doing fun stuff like that, or, you know, if somebody's interested in that, they'll get that little liking bias towards us as a team.
So that people actually get attached to us as people instead of just the room as itself.
Yeah, so like that's an example of like something that we, like almost like we would be doing anyway. Like what stuff that we'd be doing anyway, and see if we could alter it towards that. So if Joey likes collecting old antiques and stuff, and he likes taking pictures of them, like that's something that he was showing me on his phone. So if we could gear that towards maybe
him releasing that into like an actual like public.
Yeah, so like what if he was like the Despair Escape Room photographer, and he took pictures of antique, creepy stuff like that, and somehow spun it into a story that you wrote because you enjoy writing. Like that's a way that if we had that systemized, like he's already comfortable doing that, you're already comfortable doing that because you both do it regularly anyway. It's not that, like, it's not increasing the heartache for us. Like I enjoy making things, like taking on a project and actually like creating it. So if
you've been doing like film and all kinds of other things, wanting to do it the entire time I've known you. So.
Yeah, so I always like that. Like my part would be taking on a potential new thing and then try to develop that thing until it's functional, and then develop a new functional thing and try to build that. So that'd like be mine. So. And then Chris, he's really good at like talking to people face to face. I want to get him to the point where he could. Chris Bennett is the other owner, so it's me and him, and then our two employees, Joey and Ian. So there's four of us is on the team. But anyway, so Chris is very good at talking to people face to face. So I really would like for him to get into the natural habit of talking to his phone as if he's talking to people face to face. So like Instagram stories, Facebook stories, Snapchat. If he
kind of being like a vlogger.
Yeah, so if he talked to the public as if he's talking to them face to face, representing Despair Escape Rooms, like not even like salesy, but just like, you know, like talking about fun stuff in the name of Despair Escape Rooms, that would be advantageous for us. Because so if you look at our content lately, it's literally been nothing but us asking for the sale. That's a lot of our content, which at only one, people will eventually get sick of it. They'll eventually get sick of seeing buy it, especially if they already bought it, because they're not going to do an escape room twice. They're going to be sick of seeing it. But it will also only sell people that are close to being sold. It won't sell somebody who's at 50%. You know what I mean? Like, they could know what an escape room was. They are interested in doing it, but some questions aren't answered. How long is it going to take? Is it something that I'd be embarrassed? Like, what if it's not fun, and I took my friends to it, and then they're like, why the hell did you know,
Yeah,
take
there
me
would be a
to
lot
it.
of questions. It's like, am I going to be frustrated with
Yeah.
it? Is
So
it going to be too hard?
yeah, so if we answer all those questions consistently in our content, just through storytelling and documenting the teams that go through. So like, we take a picture of the team after they finish it. So what if instead we ask if we can do a video instead of a picture? And then
Get their kind of opinion on the room.
yeah, and then you just do a video like, how do you guys like the room? And they're like, oh, so much fun. You know, we had a great time. And then we get that video, and that could be a post. So it's way more beneficial on our part. Cause,
It also just makes it kind of more personal for them
Yeah.
as well if they want to actually grab that content off and like share it with their friends.
yeah, so like if a stranger saw a group of people at an escape room, literally does nothing for them because they have no idea who these people are. They have no idea where that's at. But if a stranger's scrolling through Facebook and they see a video of, you know, some random person saying, "Oh my God, this was so much fun," they're gonna be a little bit more curious about what it is. Also, what we could do is we have a compilation of 10 people or 10 groups that said, "Oh my God, it's so much fun," and we could edit that into a long video that would be, you know, like a compilation reel of all these people's reactions of after the game, which could be very beneficial for us. Which all of this isn't like super we have to develop it. Like the idea is that we get to the point where it's just systems that
becomes also natural.
yeah, so it's like systems that do all that for us instead of us sitting down on a table like, all right, what are we making this week? All right, we should do one commercial here, and then we should, you know, do this thing here, and then like, oh, we got to write that commercial, and then we got to produce that commercial, we got to get actors and stuff like that. That's so much work to get that done. Instead, what if we had a system where it's like, all right, after a playthrough, we ask them, do you guys want a picture or a video? And if you have a video, you get Gator Bucks or something like that.
Okay.
And then that right there will already create that commercial content for us just naturally, just because of the system of it. And if we had, you know, like Joey already like takes those pictures, have him systematically take those pictures. Or if we had a system where we do a podcast on Saturday, and then that podcast could be cut up into videos of us talking about who the best teams were that week. Maybe we have like
like tiny bits of their gameplay or whatever, see how they react.
Yeah, what if we had like a part of the podcast where we always say, all right, what's going to be the contest for this week, and what's going to be the prize? The contest is like, all right, whoever gets the best time this week will win, you know, X, Y, and Z from this business, from this sponsored company. And that's something that's decided every single week on the podcast. And that one video clip could be a piece of content that always airs on Monday morning. So
we could also even change it to more things like, first off, this particular puzzle fastest. Or
Yeah, or like
largest group of people.
Yeah, or
like that.
we could have like a online puzzle. Like we create a game, like a puzzle that's via video. So we create a 1-minute video, and they have to solve the puzzle by watching the video or something like that. You know, we just create that bit. Like we could have that part of the podcast that would be systematically done, so it doesn't take any thinking on our part, but it answers those questions of like what an escape room is, what's the type of feel. You know, answers all those questions. Takes the people that are at 0, they have no idea what an escape room is, and if they consume pieces of our content where they can get all the way to the point where like, yeah, I'll buy a ticket for me and my friends, because that's a big journey. Whereas right now we're only selling people are at the 90 to 100% mark.
Right, those that have either already done escape rooms or already very interested, birthdays, things like that.
Like I guarantee you that 90% of our customers so far have been people that have already done an escape room, or they're hardcore friends with somebody who works or owns the escape room.
I can pretty much corroborate that.
Yes.
Most of them have done escape rooms, or it's a birthday or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's who we're gonna sell to for a little bit until we get those systems in place and we start answering all those questions, and we become likable, and it becomes a valid option in people's what should we do today, you know, thought process.
But yeah, since I have a lot of folks on the writing side, even if it's just like I can get out like just a couple of short stories and actually get them out and published and stuff of the Hesperia universe. Someone's reading about the Hesperia universe at the end of the little book. They get this is an actual, you know, game that you can actually be a part of. That can also just bring people in just from that side, as well as like video editing, things like that.
Yeah.
Like YouTube is huge right now, so we just put some stuff on YouTube, and then someone just randomly scrolling upon like horror-based stuff, and they find that. That'll bring those people into thinking about it at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the plans for the next few weeks on my schedule, is to literally start developing those systems to the point where, so like, first month, become an operational escape room, give people a good experience. We've done that. I would say 95% of the people that went through our escape room had a great time. The other 5% had an okay time. Like, I don't think we've had any negative reviews.
I haven't seen any negative actual, like, feedback at all, really.
Not that we're awesome or anything, but I think an escape room is a very fun, almost like hard to screw up platform, because it's such a unique experience. You're going to be with your friends. If you bring your friends to something that's not that fun, you're still going to have a good time because you're with your friends. So if you show them a little bit of a good time and they're with their friends, it's hard to screw that up. So it's only up from there. But yeah, everybody that's went through it had a great time already. And I think our next steps is to start developing that story throughout the lobby, throughout the room, throughout our social media, like in-universe story, and then start developing our story as a despair company. And then, because those are two different things, and they both need to be told. They'll both answer some of the questions that they'll have. Like, if we sell them on an escape room, and you should do an escape room, and it's fun, it's a blast, they'll buy a ticket. Well, if we sell them on the despair universe and the type of feeling that it is, they'll do more than buy the escape room, they'll follow the rest of our stuff. And if we did eventually come up with other stuff, let's just say like a board game or something, we came up with that, they'll be interested in that because it's the same feel as the escape room, it's the same feel as like our universe, and they'll eventually go to that.
Especially once we get the fans and stuff, we need not even have to be the ones developing the board games and the other stuff. We can actually start subcontracting and getting other people who are completely dedicated to that field, just putting stuff in our universe once it's properly, a solid source of material.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's the goals for this week, is to start developing those systems to tell our stories systematically. So starting with this is our first episode of, I'm thinking of calling it Despair Escape Rooms, How to Start an Escape Room podcast 001. So it's just, so when people type in how to start an escape room, our podcast series would pop up, and then they could click on it, and then they could watch it, and they could start to answer some of those questions. But also, like, the summary of everything we talked about here could be typed up into like a blog article and stuff like that. So like I said, remember what we were talking about? So podcasts can be broken up into a video form,
little small bits, and then put out there.
Small bits for like Facebook and stuff, a video form for like a YouTube, audio form for podcast, and then written form for a blog post. And this one thing just accomplished 4 different things just by doing this one.
It starts with we're just talking to each other pretty much.
Exactly.
It's a nice, easy thing, and then we just pull bits of information out of it that we need from various sources.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I just got home from work, and I wanted to talk to you about that. And so where I want to go from here is I kind of want to start contacting other escape room owners and interviewing them to kind of, just like broaden our escape room knowledge, see if there's anything we can learn from them, but also start capturing other people's stories and points of view.
How they're tackling the entire situation.
Yeah, exactly.
The escape rooms are still kind of new.
So, like, if anybody's watching this, they'll have, a compilation of 60 different people's point of view of how to start an escape room, and it's going to be very easy for them to start their own, which is the end goal, is that we have a lot of information, a lot of resources for them to start their own if they wanted to. So, I think that's it for this one. It was great talking to you, man. So
I'll talk to you, man.
Yeah.
Like a brother over there.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna be off tomorrow, so I have a 3-day weekend starting Friday. So tomorrow, Thursday, after I get off work, I'm gonna drive back up there, And then Friday, we wanted to do a round the table group meeting.
Sounds good.
And then Sunday, we wanted to do our Despair Escape Room podcast. So this is going to be our How to Start an Escape Room podcast, and that one's going to be our almost like weekly update podcast, where we just talk about the Despair location, where this is more about the business of it. That one's going to be more about our actual location. So 2 different things. I mean, some stuff's going to overlap information-wise, but that's the gist of it. So thanks, man. I'll talk to you later.
Later, Jake.
See you, man.